Welcome to Early Childhood and the Bible, where I empower Christian parents to reclaim their God-given role as primary spiritual leaders and educators of their children. I'm Ann Livingston, an early childhood educator of over 20 years and a lover of Jesus and His Word. And I'm here to come alongside you with biblical encouragement and practical tools so you can lead your children's hearts, minds, and spirits with confidence. In a world that's pulling hard for your child's attention, you have been entrusted by God to shape their faith, their values, and their worldview. Here you'll find simple ways to weave discipleship into your everyday life, model a vibrant walk with Jesus, and guide your children into their own relationship with Him. You don't need a degree, a perfect home, or all the answers, just a willing heart and the Word of God. Let's take back the role God has entrusted to you and raise up the next generation to love Him and live for Him. So I've been noticing more and more in the families that I'm tutoring that, and even just in the work that I'm helping my students with when I go to tutor them, that specifically in math, I'm noticing it more in math than anything else, the way things are being taught truly does not make sense. And this is my own personal opinion, but just knowing what I know about specifically public education, this is more towards those of you who have children in public education, there is such a specific indoctrination that's happening within the public schools. And I think what's happening, or what I see kind of happening on both sides, is that, well, ultimately the government's goal is to become like God. And there is, like I said, an indoctrination within the public school system that is in many ways trying to remove the power and the authority that you have as being your child's parent. And so what I have seen is that as certain skills, the way that they're being taught is more and more confusing. And if you don't have a background in education, I am seeing that parents are getting more and more frustrated and kind of just like throwing up their hands and being like, I don't know what to do. I mean, that's partially why families hire me as a tutor, is obviously to be able to tutor their child. But even though what's being taught, like things are being taught very differently than how I taught them, but I at least am able to kind of decipher enough to be able to figure out how the curriculum is being taught or what the teacher is specifically looking for, because I can still look at something through an educational lens. But I'm just seeing that specifically with the parents, they're getting more and more frustrated. And when you're frustrated and you feel lost and you don't know what's going on and you don't know how to help your child, it makes it much easier to kind of just throw up your hands and continue to hand them over to the school system. And I really want to caution you against that. And I want to help empower you so that you will continue to keep the authority that you have as your child's parent, being your child's parent. So I'll give you an example, and of course this would be easier if this was a video podcast, and I will actually do a video at some point on my Faithful Foundation YouTube video, so that you can see what I'm talking about. But when I was working with one of the little girls today, she had scored very poorly on her math test, and she's bright. I mean, she truly is a bright little girl. And so it's not that she doesn't understand math. It's the way that it's being taught. Like, I was even getting confused. And I thought, if I'm getting confused, because it was such a multi-step type problem that didn't need to be a multi-step problem. Like, it's creating confusion that is completely unnecessary. So for instance, it would be like 7 plus 5. Okay, so well, 7 plus 5 equals 12. Okay, now turn that into a 10 and then write the new equation. So 7 plus 5 equals 12. Well, then it would turn into 10 plus 2 equals 12. There's no need for that. I mean, there are some things where it's like you can just memorize certain facts and there's nothing wrong with that. Or if a child really needs to, count on their fingers or use manipulatives, that's fine. But it turns it into a multi-step problem. So then another example would be, it gave three numbers. So let's say 7, 3, and 5. And this is in first grade. And the student had to choose between 7, 3, and 5, which two numbers equal 10, and then finish the equation. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, like, okay, fine, logically I can work my way through how you would work through that, but there were so many unnecessary steps in that. And so I worked it through with the little girl. I went through every single question in her test, and we kind of talked through why she had gotten certain questions wrong, and went through what the correct answer would be. But then when I took the test away, when I took the worksheet away, I always use manipulatives. So one way that I took the same skill and just did it kind of in a more fun way. So I use playing cards for a lot of things. So I would, for instance, take out a 7, a 3, and a 5 from the deck, right? And put those three cards in front of her. And then I would ask her which two numbers equal 10. Well, at least on playing cards, they have, like the diamonds or the clubs or whatnot. And so she could count on that if she needed to. And so once she was able to figure out which two numbers equal 10, I pulled those aside and say, okay, that equals 10. Now the last number, the last card left is a 5. 10 plus 5 equals what? But when we did it that way, she was able to go much faster. And so when we were done with the tutoring session, I said, first of all, I want you to understand that I truly believe the majority of the difficulties in math are not that she doesn't understand, it's the way it's being taught. The way the skill is being taught does not make any logical sense. And so I wanted to bring comfort. And the mom was really relieved, and she said, I just don't get it. Like, I don't understand it. It is so confusing. And this is not the only family. I have another family, and it's the same thing. The work is not necessarily the same, and that child is in second grade. But there are certain things, like, so he lives with his grandma and grandpa, and they can't help him on certain things because they don't understand it. And my heart breaks for you guys who are going through this, because it should not be that way, especially in early childhood, like especially in first and second grade. I'm sure many of you are out there like, okay, I'm not stupid. How am I not able to help my first grader with their math homework? Like, that's ridiculous. So first and foremost, I want to just come here and say, you're not alone. You're not crazy. From a professional standpoint, it's ridiculous. What's being taught and the way it's being taught is completely developmentally inappropriate, and it makes no sense. Educationally, developmentally, it makes no sense. There are a couple ways that you could go about this. If this is the situation that you're in, there are a couple ways that you could go about this. I would say first and foremost, before you hire anyone, go to the teacher and ask the teacher to teach it to you. Ask the teacher to explain it to you. Because any good teacher would be more than happy to teach it to the parent. Like if I'm thinking of myself when I was a classroom teacher, if I had any parent coming to me saying, I want to help my child, but I do not understand this, and I do not understand how to help my child with their homework, or how to help my child with, getting better grades on tests or whatnot, a good teacher should be thrilled that you are coming and asking that. So if your teacher is not thrilled and not willing to help, that's a huge red flag, and I would pay attention to that. But so first and foremost, I would say go to your teacher. Go to your child's teacher and ask them to basically tutor you in the homework so that you have an understanding of how it's being taught so that you can help your child. If your child's teacher won't do that, I would say go to the principal, to be quite honest. But if you are someone that you're like, even if I can do that, I just don't really have the time, or if, I don't know, I'm not really sure what other circumstances would be out there, but you're always more than welcome to reach out to me. And if you are in need of help, I'm more than happy to work with you. And, it wouldn't have to be a long-term thing. It could literally be one session where we hop on a Zoom and I teach you whatever the homework is, if working with the child's teacher, if working with your child's teacher is not an option, or just doesn't work out for, whatever the case may be. I just wanted to encourage you to not give up. Don't throw in the towel. Get the help that you need. Again, whether it is asking the teacher, whether it requires going to the principal, whether you hire a tutor. I haven't done long distance tutoring if you're not in the Phoenix area, but I'm capable of doing it. So if you are looking for a tutor to work with your child or with you, or if you want to hop on a Zoom and have me explain it to you, teach you the content, or work with you and your child, whatever specifically it is that you're looking for your family. But I want to encourage you to get the help that you need. It's mind-blowing to me to talk to these parents of the families that I'm working with and to see their frustration and feeling like their hands are tied. I mean, even just simple things like I've had conversations with one of the women in particular, and she was talking about the IEP meeting for her grandson, and there were so many things that weren't communicated to them. And so I just offered, the next time there's an IEP meeting, that's my background. I have a bachelor's in special ed. So, if you need someone in that meeting to either ask certain questions or to help explain things to you, I mean, in theory, the teachers and the specialists should be doing that. But I honestly don't know what's happening specifically in public schools anymore. And every school is different. In some schools, the teachers and the specialists are amazing. So maybe you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I don't have that issue. That's amazing. I'm so happy. But I know that there are schools out there where that's not the case, where parents are being left in the dark, not knowing what to do, not knowing how to advocate for their children. And so I want to help bridge that gap so that you feel empowered to have all the information that you need to be able to advocate for your children in whatever way that looks like. So yeah, so I've offered to attend IEP meetings just so that I can help translate and decipher through some of the jargon, because people in the educational field don't necessarily know how to communicate it in a way that makes sense to parents. So anyway, that is it for this week. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next week. If this episode blessed you, please subscribe, comment, and share it with another parent who is trying to raise godly children in an ungodly world.